Begin. Welcome to the Bereshit study of Genesis. I mean, Bereshit is Genesis. It's literally in the beginning. And I am so excited because this has been like, honestly, guys, I lost count how many times I've done a Genesis study already. All praises to Abba. And I was thinking that as I was putting this study together, I'm like, I'm back at Genesis, back where I started, and every every single time I learn something new, I discover something that, or more, not discover, Abba reveals something to me that perhaps I kind of had an understanding, but now it's like, oh my gosh, deeper understandings unfolding in front of our eyes. It's just beautiful to study the word over and over and over. And I've always said it, especially the very beginning of the Bible, because that is where your foundation really truly gets solidified. And in a way that makes you understand the entire scripture so that you could put precept upon precept and see it and take it literally. It always goes back to the beginning. I know I said it last week when we were studying the Torah, the introduction to the Torah. But it literally always goes back to the beginning. There's no other way to say it. I mean, I don't know. I am going to say something. This study of Genesis, it's long. So I'm giving you a heads up. It's 50 chapters, and I intend to take my time together with my sisters, whoever's going to help me teach. We're going to take turns, but I intend to take my time. Why? Because I've come to the conclusion that you cannot rush through these chapters. You really can't. There's chapters that we're gonna have to break into two parts, maybe even three parts. Because if not, we're gonna miss out on a lot. And I don't want to just say like, oh, I read 5 chapters in one study and just to say I covered the first 5 chapters. We attempted to do, which I love, by the way. I still want to do that eventually, but we attempted to do the Torah portions where we would read ahead of time, like for example Genesis 1 through through 6, and then come to discuss it together. And although that is a beautiful way to see the full picture and the theme, combining each chapter, it's also not ideal for new believers. And one of the reason, and even seasoned believers, but believe it or not, one of the reasons why I decided to break it down chapter by chapter is because there's so much, like I said, in each chapter, and I don't want to just read together themes. I want people to get it, right? Obviously through the Holy Spirit, but I want to be able to pause. Especially with the first few chapters of Genesis, I believe are key to understanding because that's when you are going to find yourselves and I truly pray that Abba opens your understanding and removes all learned and taught knowledge that did not come from him, but instead it came from, I guess, the ways of the teachings of the world, right? The pre-existing knowledge. I pray that the Holy Spirit really truly removes anything that's blocking his truth. Because let me tell you, with Genesis 1, you're going to see that you're gonna find yourself questioning even the shape of the earth. Yes, I'm going there today. And so I want to make sure that you guys are in a place where you're able to receive the truth. And again, disclaimer, you don't have to agree with everything that I say. You don't have to even agree with what the understanding that we, stumble upon together as a body, as a group, right, of believers. But I do encourage you to do this. Whatever you don't agree or just don't be so quick to reject everything else. Always take it to him. And remember, scripture will interpret itself to you with scriptures and in context, the full picture together. There's no way that you can say, oh, this is not true because I saw another Bible verse that contradicts that, because the scriptures doesn't contradict itself. And if you're seeing that, it's because you're not seeing the full picture. You're not reading in context. So that's the encouragement that I want to give you before we dive in. I also want to tell you that take your time. Don't just stay here. Like, don't just be okay with coming every Tuesday with us and studying every chapter. Go back at home, revisit, reread it. Take your time to take notes. Take your time to ask His Holy Spirit to truly guide you in this Bible study. Because this is not about me teaching you. If not, I'm doing everything, like, or Jessica or Yasmin or Alina or anyone else that will be teaching. This is about us kind of pointing scriptures to you. We're not, if not, we're doing everything that the world is doing already. And we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. At the end of the day, we're called to just preach the gospel. We're not called to convince you what's in the gospel, right? So having given that introduction, I do want to just give a brief introduction, aside from what I just said, to what is Genesis. So Genesis, once again in Hebrew, comes from the word Bereshit, which means in the beginning. And it is the opening of the Torah. Like I said last week, is the very first book of the Torah, meaning the first 5 books written by Moses, found in the Old Testament in the scriptures. It sets the foundation for scripture. I know I don't say it enough. I say it way too much, but at the same time, I don't say it enough because it truly does set the foundation for the entire word. And it establishes who the Most High or the Elohim is and who we are as a people. This is where it all begins. So, let me see if I want to share. Okay, let me actually read this too. So what Genesis establishes, the mission, oh, I meant to put the mission and vision, not there. Well, yeah, I guess there, the Most High and the Son, right? Together with this Ruach. So it's the creation of heaven and earth, order, purpose, and design. Obviously, we're going to read the chapter together, guys, but I'm just giving you an introduction. The nature and character of Elohim, humanity's role and identity, the origins of sin, death, and redemption, and the beginning of covenant history. And the overview, I'm going to give you an overview of the first 3 chapters. However, today we're going to focus on chapter 1, if we even get to finish it. But an overview of the first 3 chapters, we see in those first 3 chapters, and I'll repeat myself as we're going dig into chapter 2 and 3 later on. So we see the 6 days of ordered creation. Today, we're gonna start with that, right? Light, firmament, land, and vegetation. We see the creation of the luminaries, which is the sun, moon, and stars. We see the animals, fish, birds, and right, the rest of the animals, right? The humanity in His image, made in His image, meaning mankind. And then the Most High declares creation to be very good. So we're going to talk more in depth about that. We have an overview of Genesis 2, quickly focus on mankind, humanity, the Garden of Eden, the tree of life and tree of knowledge, Adam's stewardship, and the creation of Hawa, which is Eve. And lastly, Genesis 3, the serpent's deception. That's going to be a juicy one, guys. I'm giving you a heads up. Yes, the fall plus its consequences, separation plus exile, and first promise of redemption, the proto gospel. And it's interesting. I wanted to give you this and kind of like overview of the first 3 chapters because it points truly what we are living today. The beginning declares the end, nothing new under the sun. It's literally just that. We're still under the, well, I want to believe not us anymore, but we were under the serpent's deception, right? And because of that, as a result, we fell from His glory. There was a disconnect between us and our Abba. Therefore, we were separated from His glory and basically in a spiritual exile and in a spiritual Babylon, spiritual Egypt, right? And so in that comes in the promise of redemption through our Messiah. And that's what we're living today. Amen. So it is the exact same picture. So I want to read before we continue on this slide. I do want to just go ahead and read Genesis 1 in its entirety. And I'm gonna ask one of my sisters here if they can read it for me.
I can read it.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
I can
ahead.
read it. In the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the Most High was hovering over the face of the waters. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. The Most High called the light day, and the darkness He called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Then the Most High said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus he made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And the Most High called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then he said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And he called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And the Most High saw that it was good.
Let me bring that
And
up.
Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. Then Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. The Most High set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim said it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Then the Most High said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So he created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the Most High blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And then he said, let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and the beasts of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And he made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Then the Most High said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High, he created him, male and female, he created them. Then he blessed them, and Elohim said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over every living thing that moves on the earth. And the Most High said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life. I have given every green herb for food, and it was so. Then the Most High saw everything that he made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
I mean,
Mm.
I know that was a lot. Thank you for reading, Jess. I wanted to read everything in its entirety because I want to start with the full picture of creation, right? We see that it covers the first 6 days, including, well, yes, we're gonna talk about how he created up to the sixth day here. I believe the Shabbat goes on to chapter 2. But what I want to show is the key theme here of creation. There's a few things that we see here, but we are gonna break it down. And I'm gonna try to break it down precept by precept. I know it's lengthy, but I'm just gonna bring in some scriptures. I might not read all of them, but just so you have an idea. Um, what the word as a whole say about this so you could see the full picture, right? So in the beginning, we have in the very beginning, we already know that the book of Revelation says that Messiah is the beginning. He's also the end. So from the very beginning, we know that the creator himself is Messiah. And you may want to say, like, how do you come to the conclusion that Messiah was the creator? And this is where I'm going to show scriptures, precept upon precept. And I have a few here, which I want to go over just so you see what I'm talking about. This Psalms 102:25, you're gonna see that a lot of the Psalms are very messianic in context. I know a lot of them, you'll read that it's kind of like referencing to David himself, but it's a twofold prophetic scripture, always pointing to Messiah, right? So Psalms 102 says, "Of old you laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands." We have Isaiah 40:21. "Have you not known? Have you not heard? Has it not been told to you from the beginning?" Bereshit again, right? "Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth?" We have John 1:1-3. I love John because John always brings it back to Messiah. He makes it so clear. Once again, Bereshit, in the beginning was the word. And we know that the word is Messiah. I know that Bible verse always gives me the woo. And let me break it down to you here because a lot of people will read this and just see the word God and group everything like one God, right? But we know that this with it's been manhandled so much with the translating that you lose like the essence of what is truly saying. There is two distinctions here of God. They're both gods, right? Both Allahims. Obviously, the father and the son share the same characteristics. Therefore, they're both high beings, mighty beings, right? So yes, they're both gods, but you have a distinction between father and son in these three verses. So we have in the beginning was the word. First distinction, the word we know is the son, right? And then it says, and the word was with God, meaning with the father, because it's not going to say with himself, right? And then it says, and the word was God. So you see the distinction there? The word, meaning Messiah, was with the Father, and then Messiah himself was a mighty one, an Elohim. That's what that word God represents, right? It's also an angel. A lot of people we see through our scriptures. I know Jessica brought it up last week, and how I think it was in Exodus that it pointed that Messiah was an angel. There's a few scriptures that you'll see it being referenced as Messiah as an angel, but and including the book of Hebrews, right? But a lot of people will not accept him as an angel because they'll see him in the category like a lower category, not understanding that angels are divine beings as well. Messiah is just a higher authority, which is why Hebrews states that he was lifted higher than the angels. It doesn't mean that he's not an angel. It means he's just higher than them, meaning he has a higher authority, right? So that's what that word God means. So all angels are gods. This is important to understand from the beginning. Why am I taking such a long time explaining this? Because it's key. Yeah. It's key to understand that God is also the word angel, because when in Exodus he says, do not worship other gods, it's very key for you guys to understand that he's talking about the fallen angels. Do you understand now? So, because of that, it changes everything. It changes how you read scriptures in its entirety. Because a lot of people will say, like, oh, but what do you mean don't worship other gods? Like, yes, lowercase gods. Who were those gods? Satan is a god. All of his brothers that fell with him also were gods. So, yes, all of them were angels. Yes, Messiah himself is an angel, but there's obviously the distinction between fallen and the ones that were not fallen. All right. So now that I've clarified that, verse 2 says, he, meaning speaking of Messiah, was in the beginning again with God, meaning with the Father, the Most High God. I always like to call him the Most High to give him that the merit that he deserves, right? The Most High. He's above all, right? And then verse 3, and then look how it joins all of that now going, taking it back to Messiah. Remember that I said, where do you come with the conclusion that Messiah created? Well, it's in scriptures. Verse 3, all things, it doesn't say a few things, no, all things were made through him, right? And without him, nothing was made that was made. In other words, the Father is the force, the Most High. The Most High is the force.
The Most High is the force,
I
and
hear
the Most
myself.
High
Somebody
is the
mute yourself, please.
Sorry, that was me.
I'm like, what is happening? Anyway, so the Most High is the force, meaning the essence, the ruach, right? He through the Son creates. So the creator Is Messiah. And that's why it's so important to understand who was from the beginning, because when you understand that, reading through Genesis and then reading through Exodus, you'll see Messiah through the entire Torah. Through the entire Torah. Messiah is the pillar of fire by night, pillar of cloud by day. He is the burning bush that spoke with Moses. He is the lawgiver. Okay, so it's so important to understand this from the very beginning, because understanding that will make sense, will help you make sense of the entire word. So Hebrews 1:10, and you, Adon, meaning speaking of Messiah, in the beginning laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. Again, confirming what I said, the prophetic Psalms of 102. You see it right there? It is Messiah who laid the foundation of the earth. It is Messiah who did and the heavens are the work of your hands, meaning the heavens, meaning under the firmament. We're going to speak about that, right? Genesis 2:4. This is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. In the day that the Adon, God made the earth and the heavens. When it speaks about here, when you see this Lord God, this is speaking of Messiah. And that's why it's very important you guys understand that distinction, because our Masoretic texts, our canon Bibles, with the loss of translation, they have grouped the Father and the Son under Lord, which is why you're going to see me not say Lord often. You're going to see me not say God, because it gets confusing. When you say the Lord and God, you're just, who's God and who's who? Right. We know Elohim is Messiah. We know the Most High is the Father, right? So it's very important to see the distinction. Psalms 8, verse 3, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, again confirming it, the moon and the stars, which you ordained, again, Messiah. Psalms 89, verse 11, the heavens are yours, the earth also is yours, the world and all its fullness. You have founded them. So you see how it goes back to our Savior is literally our creator. Psalms 90, verse 2. And it's not to take away from the Father, by the way, because a lot of people will say, oh, you're taking from. No, absolutely not. The essence is the Father. Yeah. Without the Father, the Son, the Son cannot be. Okay? Anything without the Father. Exactly. It is through the Father that he's able to create. However, through his hands. Remember how it says that he is the Father's right hand? Yeah. Right? And in the book of Exodus, we see the story like where it says through his outstretched arm. It's speaking about Messiah. His hand, the outstretched arm, is always referencing to our Messiah. But the force is the Father. Doesn't make sense that through his spirit, through the Ruach HaKodesh, which is his breath, right? Isaiah 44, verse 24. Thus says the Adon, your Redeemer. Look how it makes it very clear that this is Messiah. Again, remember when I said when it says the Lord is talking about Messiah? The Adon, your Redeemer, and he who formed you. You see how the word just like it connects itself? From the womb, I am the Adon who makes all things, who stretches out the heavens all alone, who spreads abroad the earth by myself. Again, Messiah is the creator. Acts 17:24 confirms this, the Most High, I mean the Adon, who made the world and everything in it. Since he is Adon of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands. So this is now speaking how he no longer dwells in the tabernacle. He dwells in us, which we are to become the tabernacle, right? Romans 1:20, Paul confirms this. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. And again, Paul is speaking about Messiah. If you continue reading the chapter, he's just basically presenting the gospel to these new Gentile converts and pointing back who he is, because they just see him as Jesus of Nazareth, right? This person who came and basically confronted all of their status quo and all of these things that they thought they knew. And now he's pointing it back to scriptures. He's taking it back. He is the one that was from the beginning. It's beautiful, isn't it? We also have Hebrews 1:2 has in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he has appointed heir of all things, through whom also he made the worlds. Again, scriptures confirms itself. Hebrews 11:3, by faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word. of the Most High, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. All right. We lastly have here Revelations 4:11. You are worthy, O Adon, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created. And that just all of that to confirm, going back to Genesis verse 1, to confirm that our creator is the Son.
You know, it's so
Yes.
beautiful. Sorry if I
No, yes, absolutely.
Like I always think about how like the father doesn't like to do things alone. Like it reminds me like he always like co-labors with like his creation. Like here we see him co-laboring with Messiah. Like he doesn't do things alone. Like he likes to co-labor with like
One echad, one accord. It's always the body. I love that you added that because that's truly where we're gonna go and point here how everything that he created, he said that it was good, except he said it's not good for men to be alone. That is the only thing he said that it was not good. So I love that we're always like in
he even says like I
yes.
don't do anything without first telling my prophets. Like he always wants to like co-labor.
Yes, it's a body. He loves teamwork. It's about the body of Messiah. It's about laboring together as one people, one bride, right? It all goes back to the church, right? So let's go back to Genesis 2. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit, the Ruach, right, of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And you have to understand that the Spirit that's in the Father is also in the Son. They share one Spirit. It's not one God with three heads, as we've been taught. Is one Father and one Son sharing a common breath, which now by faith, by being born again, we all share as well. So to understand this, that the same Spirit, right, that said, let there be light, and there was light, is the same Spirit that is now within you. The power to create, I know it sounds crazy, but it's also in you. Not through your strength or this corruptible flesh, but through his breath. And that should give you another level of faith to understand that, right? So to confirm that, we have Isaiah, no, sorry. Well, I did want to read from, by the way, let me just give a brief introduction to what is Targums. Because I am going to read not in its entirety, but I'm going to bring a couple of verses here and there just to add more understanding. So the Targums are much more, much less, not much more, much less handled older texts than the Masoretic text that you and I have today, which is like our canon Bibles, right? So they come directly translated from the Aramaic, right? And because of that, it hasn't been as manhandled. So you're going to see that a lot more detail is preserved in this text. So I'm not going to do, when I did the last study of Genesis, we did it reading fully the Targums because we wanted to see the full picture in the Targums. But this time around, because it's a more entry level, I guess, study, I'm just going to bring a couple of precepts from the Targum, so to bring more understanding, okay? So this verse 2 right here, where it says the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. I want to read that same verse in the Targums, which I have it here. We have it down here. You're going to see more detail here. It says, and the earth was vacancy and desolation, solitary of the sons of men, and void of every animal, and darkness was upon the face of the abyss, which is the same as the deep, right? And the spirit of mercies from before the Adon breathed upon the face of the waters. Why do I bring in the Targums? Because here we see a distinction that is not in our canon, which is it was void, but it says of the sons of men. Notice that it wasn't void of the sons of the Most High, meaning the angels had been created. There were other gods when creation took place. Messiah, being the firstborn of the Father, created, but all of his brothers were also created. Does that make sense? So that's why I bring in the Targums to bring that understanding. And then to confirm with that, we have Jeremiah 4, down here, Jeremiah 4, Verse 24, I beheld the mountains, and indeed they trembled, and all the hills moved back and forth. Genesis 6, verse 3, and the Adon said, my spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. And I want to say this because this is later on, and we're going to see when we read about Noah. And when the fall of man obviously was taking place. But this is just so you could see that this is what it means by the sons of men. Okay, they were already corrupt in the flesh, so the sons of men were not created at up to that point. Job 26:13, by his spirit he adorned the heavens, his hand pierced the fleeing serpent. So we see confirmation there in Job. Psalms 33 verse 6, by the word of the Adon the heavens were made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. Psalms 104 verse 30, you send forth your spirit, they are created, and you renew the face of the earth. And lastly, Isaiah 40:13 through 14, who was directed the spirit of the Adon? No, who has directed the spirit of the Adon? Or as his counselor has taught him? With whom did he take counsel? And who instructed him and taught him in the path of justice? Who taught him knowledge and showed him the way of understanding? And this is again speaking of Messiah. And so you see here that the one who taught him all that knowledge was through his spirit, directed through his breath, confirming exactly what we just read here. Verse 3, where it says, the Most High said, let there be light, and there was light. And we know, I am going to bring back something here, but let's just read this really quick. Psalms 33, 6 through 9, by the word of the Most High, the heavens were made. We just read this. 2 Corinthians 4, 6. For it is the God who commanded light to shine out of darkness, who has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yasha. This is confirming that the light is Messiah, and this is Paul speaking. That's why I wanted to bring that. And I am going to bring some let me just read Hebrews, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hebrews 11:3, by faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. We have read this, but so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. So the light, we know when we did the class on the introduction of the Torah, we spoke a lot about how the light literally is the Torah, and it points back to Messiah. So let's take a little break from all the precepts, and let's go back here because I do want to point to something. So Genesis 1, and taking a deep dive, right? We have the Adon created, meaning the Son, okay? Messiah, the heaven and the earth. We have the Son is the creator. Creation starts with the word. We have the origin, and there was no chaos. It was not made by accident or evolution. And the world did not made itself, right? In other words, the beginning and the end is Messiah. We know that in Hebrew, the Aleph and the Tav, in Greek, the Alpha and the Omega, right? So his word shapes all things from beginning to end and in between. So this is what I wanted to take back to light, because it's very important to understand the concept of light, because light was before the creation of the sun and the moon, which is what luminaries mean. Okay, sun, moon, and stars is what the luminaries mean. And I put up, I know it looks very small, but if you can see these pictures here, we have creation on day one. It says that the world was empty and void. And then the Targums adds the understanding that without the sons of men, right? But we know that light was in existence already, because in order to say that there was darkness, you need to have light to contrast that, right? There was light. He separated, it says there, the light from the darkness. However, the sun and the moon and the stars were not created until day 4. And we'll see that later on when we break it down. So I wanted to point that the light that existed was not of the sun. What we see today is just a small representation of what Messiah is, which is light. Okay? And we see that the moon reflects on this light as a different body. So we see kind of like a connection with the bride and the bridegroom. The light meaning of Messiah, and then the moon representing the bride. So all of it is beautiful, but I did want to point that out, that there was light before the creation of his luminaries on day 4. We know that light is spiritual. New Jerusalem says that there'll be no sun because there'll always be light. Messiah will be in our midst, right? So light is spiritual, in other words, as well as physical. We can also see it physically with our physical eyes. Darkness cannot overcome his light. John himself says it in John 1. And the darkness could not comprehend it, meaning Messiah could not comprehend the light. Foreshadowing of Messiah, it's the light, right? The light of life, which is the light of man also. So just wanted to show that. Okay, we're not there yet. So let's go back. Yes, the Targums are awesome, Eileen. She's saying that it gives so much more understanding when you read it. Absolutely. But because we're doing more like precept upon precept study, I didn't want to just read the Targums this time around. I know you ladies that have been with me studying forever, this is going to be a different take because before what we used to do is read the Targums and then kind of compare it with the canon. Now we're doing it the other way around. Um, and I am going to be bringing in scriptures such as Jasher later on, but not in its entirety, just like to add in little to fill in the gaps. Let's just say that, right? Of whatever's missing in the canon. Not that it's missing, but just makes the picture more cohesive, if that makes sense. So again, we see in verse 3 that let there be light, and there was light, was from day one. Okay, that was day one, and that light was not the light of the sun. So verse 4, and the most high saw that the light, and it was good, and the most high divided the light from the darkness. And I want to say the Adon divided, although he is also the most high because he's higher than the rest of the angels, right? But just not to add confusion to you guys, we're talking about Messiah, creator, separates light from darkness. That light stems from him. He is the light. So the Most High called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. So I just want to confirm the first day, the light was there already. It already existed. And I just want to bring in some other precepts to connect with that. We have Job 37. Let me see where I put it here. Oh, here. With him, have you spread out the sky, strong as a cast metal mirror? Okay, that's connecting with verses 5, 6. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because this is where he made the firmament. And we will talk about the firmament now.
Because I took notes on it, and like when you look at the Hebrew word, it's or, I think that's how you say it, which you were saying like it's the sun, the moon, and the stars. And then when you look deeper into it, it's like the lightning of the eyes, and it even says his law. And then I know you said the
Love it.
darkness, and then the Hebrew word for darkness is koshet. So even
Oh, I
like
love it.
stands for destruction, the dark, death, ignorance, wickedness. And then I made like an acronym like
I love
LLDD, like law equals light and death, dark equals death, just to make it
Which
easier
is-
to understand.
Which makes so much sense because when you're in sin, you're separated from him.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like lawlessness.
Lawlessness, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
It's like the separation of the light and the dark from the beginning.
From the very beginning. That's why the beginning declares the end. I love it. I love it. That's awesome, guys.
So good. Yeah.
That's another thing. The day of judgment, it will be dark. Yep. And all the luminaries will fall down. Yep.
Thinking about it.
All right. So what I want to share here, these precepts that I'm sharing has not to do so much with the light, but with the part verse 6, where it speaks about the firmament. So pardon me. This is not, I had said up to verse 5, but we just confirmed that they were created in the first day. I mean, the light was created and separated from darkness on the first day. And we see that Genesis 6 here, where it says, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters, right? I'm going to take a passage here because I need you guys to understand this. How many times, whether in Bible school, Sunday school, you name it, you've seen it in movies, little cartoons, whatever, the story of creation, nobody stops to question what we've been taught by NASA, by our school books, right? We've been taught that we're in a globe model where basically the water's hanging off of gravity and it doesn't fall off, right? Like from a ball. And we have all these And by the way, and this concept is fairly new because ancient history and ancient understanding was a biblical flat earth. Yes, yes. It was actually including the concept of the Bible. So when NASA came in, basically, is when the whole globe model came in because supposedly they left the earth, which, by the way, just stop for a second, guys. If the Most High destroyed Nimrod and his little puppets for trying to build the Tower of Babel because they wanted to reach the heavens, right? He did not let them go up to the heavens and confuse their languages. We're gonna speak about that when we get to Genesis. I believe that's like in 7. Um, what makes you think he'll allow a couple of astronauts to leave the firmament?
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. But again, I know this is a hard subject to swallow when we've been so indoctrinated. And everything that we see, beginning with movies, they start with a globe in front of our face. It's almost like the more they repeat it, the more it gets engraved in your mind and you accept it as truth. Even a child that has never gone to school already perceives the world as a globe because that's what's been thrown so much, even on cartoons, right? And it's moving, rotating, contrary to what scripture says. But let's break it down because we're still in Genesis. I know eventually we'll see more and more and more, but let's just understand what this word firmament is and what the point is, because it's saying that he said, let there be a firmament, sorry, firmament in the midst of the water. So imagine a lot of waters and a firmament in the midst, right? And it's dividing the waters from the waters. Another translation says dividing the waters above from the waters, meaning above the firmament from the waters below the firmament. And I think it says it here too, on the verses below. But before that, I want you to understand what firmament is. Let's just compare some scriptures and then you tell me. So Job understood this concept. 37:18 says, with him have you spread out the skies. By the way, skies is the same as firmament. Strong as a cast metal mirror. Are you following me here? Job is telling you what the skies or firmament looks like. It's strong as a cast metal mirror. In other words, it's see-through, it's strong, it's a dome, right? We're going to see that. Job 38:6-8. To what were its foundations fastened? Speaking of the earth. Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, by the way, morning stars, angels are also called the morning stars, not only Satan, all the angels, right? Morning stars sang together, and all the sons of the Most High, confirming here what the angels are, right? And the stars, shouted for joy. Oh, what am I doing here? Or who shot in the sea with doors when it burst forth and issued from the womb? So again, confirming the firmament, Jeremiah 10:12. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom and has stretched out the heavens by at his discretion, right? 2 Peter 3:5. For this they willfully forget that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of water and in the water. So you see how even the apostles understood this concept. So, having read that, now we're going to go back here and I want to show you through the strong concordance what this word firmament literally means. The word firmament, rakia in Hebrew. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Let me click on rakia. Where did I just see it? Here. Rakia in Hebrew. Ra is pronounced rakia, right? It literally means firmament. It is an extended surface, solid, expands firmament, expands flat as base, support meaning it starts from a flat base, right? Firmament or vault of heaven supporting waters above. Considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. You're also going to see visible arch of the sky. You're also going to see, let me see down here. Here, where it says, where the stars were supposed to be fixed and over which the Hebrews believed there was a heavenly ocean. So again, it's speaking of a dome. And there is even like when you look into the root word, I think here's where it says Rome, where it's Raka. No, it's not here, but Yes. There's a different way to find it. I'm just not gonna take my time looking into this right here with you guys. However, I do wanted to show you what rakia means, and it literally even sounds like rock hard, rakia, right? So, going back to the firmament, let's just show, according to scriptures, what this means. So the firmament, right? From the Hebrew, once again, Strong's Concordance, H7549, rakia is something that is stretched out, right? Like you see over here, stretched out, spread, expanded, is solid expanse or dome-like structure. There's actually a translation of the Bible, I think it's the NASB, that says dome instead of firmament. You also have, it's a solid expanse or dome-like structure. You have divides waters above from the waters below. So in other words, when the earth was created, it was created out of the midst of water, which is fascinating to me because that only leads you to understand if those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, let them hear, right? That the kingdom of the Most High, it's a marine kingdom in the waters, which is why we also say that Hollywood is not that creative. They get this concept, all of those movies, all of those gods in the ocean, all the concept of the mermaids and all these things. There's a marine kingdom. Well, yes, because there is a mystery in the waters. I'm not saying that just you go to the ocean, you're going to find the kingdom of heaven there. However, what I'm trying to say is that we are in the midst of waters. The Bible itself says it. In other words, the heavens is in the waters, meaning above the firmament. It's waters, okay? Below the firmament as well, all around us. What's separating us from this kingdom is almost like the opposite of a a fish tank. You know how a fish tank gets out of the waters and has water inside? We are kind of like that, but within waters. So it's kind of like like that snow globe?
Yeah.
So picture a snow globe inside the ocean,
Right.
Yes.
and that's the earth. Yes.
And it's where we get the phrase "as above, so below."
That's
Because it's
above the, yes.
rocks above it. So below.
And that's a Freemason
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Yes.
Wow.
About how like his voice is of the many waters.
Yes, thank you for adding that. Yes, his voice has the voice of many waters. Yes.
The first judgment was water, and it makes sense because it's open.
The cleansing.
Yes.
The cleansing of the earth, and we're gonna talk about that when we get to Genesis 6, Noah and the flood, right? So what we read is that the vault, meaning of the domes, were open.
Yes, the
The
heavens were
dome,
open.
there's like little things that were open, which is how the water came in rushing in, because there's waters above. Woo! Yes.
It says, "Wash with the water of your word."
Oh my gosh. Yes, everything points back to the kingdom of the Most High, right? It's in waters, the cleansing, the purification, waters.
And in the tabernacle, the priests had to wash themselves with water.
I was thinking how, like, in the book of Enoch, it says that the angels are in charge of the lightning, the rain.
We're gonna read some of Enoch if we have time. Yes, it's beautiful.
That's science. It's
Yeah.
all him.
Well, the Bible is science, just not the corrupt science that we've been taught. But the Bible confirms science. Like literally, everything about creation is science. It's his science. It's all about math. Everything goes back to him. He's the owner, creator of it all.
And science makes you think like, okay, where's all this water coming from?
I know, right?
It's like-
Yes.
It's like all the elements of spirit from Abba. Like
Yes.
spirit-
Where are these
And it's crazy. You want to know what's crazy too? Because it also says the word that his word is consuming fire. So that only means that in the heavens there's fire in the waters that does not get consumed. And if you think about it, which is why Moses saw a burning bush, which is a representation of the tree of life, lighted up with fire, which is Messiah. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm gonna get so excited with this.
Sort of the Garden of
Yes, the Garden of Eden too, with them guarding the flaming swords. Yes. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself here, guys. But yes, there's so much. So let's continue with the biblical earth depiction according to scriptures, right? This is what the ancient Hebrews, and even other cultures, as a matter of fact, all other cultures understood the earth from this depiction, because it wasn't just the Hebrews, it was every other country, nation, you name it.
Yeah.
So Genesis 1 tells you once again that there is waters above the firmament, right? And then there's waters below, which is where the great concept of the great deep comes from, right? So we see that there's the earth formed before sun and the moon, and stars were placed in the firmament. There's order. Order reflects purpose, not randomness. So in other words, here's the firmament, the dome, right? The hard glass mirror that Job and I believe Peter expressed. So then under the firmament, you have the sun, very different than what we've been taught, guys, right? The sun and the moon and the rest of the luminaries, all of them going around us. Because the word says that the earth is firm, it's laid on its firm foundation, and it's unmovable. So, in other words, what's moving is not us, is them, the heavenly bodies.
And we sometimes it always takes everything and twists and perverts
Yes.
it. So.
Everything makes it as above, so below type of thing, concept, but opposite, right? You were gonna say something, Yasmin?
Say that when I was like staring at it, I was thinking about how like a pregnancy belly is like half of a circle.
There's also what, girl, you're going deep there. You're going deep there. Let me tell you how deep you're going there because the baby's in the waters. And when he comes,
There's something from
yes, but not only that, when he breaks out of that dome, let's call it dome, right? When he comes into this realm, he or she, obviously I'm saying he, but when the baby comes into this realm, it's when the waters break. And he comes out of the waters, and no longer he's in a spiritual state, but he's in an earthly state.
And it's like that priest.
It's crazy.
From Job, he said that he saw the womb like of the earth.
Yes.
Like a womb.
I know. The Matrix. Everything connects. It's crazy. I know.
these have such like they have a little bit of truth to them.
They do. They show a lot of truth actually hidden, and then they'll make it look like conspiracy theories too. They do that on purpose. That's how they control the information, right? But anyway, it makes so much sense that the sun and the moon would be the ones moving because if you think about it, yes, I know that NASA will come out with explanations as to why we have the lunar eclipses and the solar eclipses, but it makes so much more sense when they're the ones that are moving and crossing each other's path, therefore creating remember when we spoke about the analema, creating the eight, when we did the great 8 day study? The path of the sun and the moon, they create an eight, which means signify eternity under the firmament. We also see that, for example, in the book of Joshua is one of the instances, and I believe Elijah as well, if I'm not mistaken, they commanded the sun to stand still so that they could win the war, right? They commanded the sun to stand still, and nobody ever questioned why is the sun standing still if the sun is not supposed to move, right? So we see all throughout scriptures, it is a depiction of a biblical flat earth. And by flat, I mean this. By flat, I don't mean like just a pancake, right? A lot of people will make fun like, oh, we're just like a pancake in the galaxies or whatever. No, it has a dome above. You want to know what the best part of this concept to me has been? The realization that we're not just in a little tiny ball hanging in the middle of space, in the middle of nowhere, and there's a huge sun and the moon and all of these other planets, which, by the way, the planets are also luminaries that are also under the firmament, but we'll get to that later. Yes, they are stars. They are stars as well. Yes. Yes, the so-called planets. But yes, they're also under under the firmament. But the idea of us being like so minimal in the vast galaxy, right? Instead, it's a place that is purposely placed right under his heaven. Gives me so much identity that when he looks down, he's literally looking at us. It says that he sits on the face, like I forgot exactly how he says it, but like he sits above. Oh my gosh, how is it that he says it? Like his throne is above like the circle of the earth, and like it's a stamp.
It's like his footstool.
Oh, his foot, he sits on a footstool, yes, above the earth. So to see it that way is to see that his soul,
He's above it all.
exactly, and that our soul existence and purpose is to go back to him. We're placed here because we're literally under a curse. We're like the fallen angels that are in prison in this joy of bubble that the Little Mermaid sings about. Yeah. that the Little Mermaid sings about. You know how they expose truth through even the cartoons? Yeah, you know, they make it obviously look like she wants to get out of the ocean and be free and be like them. But literally it's backwards. It's literally us like to explore this joy of bubbles is basically to come out of here and go back where we belong, which is in the heavens. So yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
so. And then there's a verse that like ever since I learned about like the firmament and flat earth and everything that makes more sense to me in Revelation when it says like in his throne there's a sea of glass and it's literally the firmament because
I
Abba
know.
is like literally right above us and
I
it makes
know.
sense that like the luminaries are right under him like he's controlling everything. Like,
Absolutely. And I didn't add it here, like the picture, but it also goes with how it says that the heavens are above, right? And then you see the colors of the rainbow depicting from the seven heavens, the seven colors of the rainbow. We also see how, for example, the alphabet community, to call them that, right? I don't want to say that, LGBT, whatever, that whole alphabet, they remove one and they only keep six colors, but it's seven. Yes. Yes. It's seven colors in the, yes, it's seven colors in the rainbow. And when you see like even the shape of the rainbow, it's almost like a reflection of the dome over a flat earth, over a flat surface, right? And even again, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to take this. I know if you've never heard this concept, this could be a lot, and you could be like, okay, this is a little too much. But maybe stop for a second and think. Remove all the stuff that you've learned all your life in school, through the television, through the movies, through the songs, through NASA, whatever. Remove all of that. And for a second, just stop and observe nature. Go on a cruise, observe the oceans. Does it ever tilt? Go on an airplane, dare to look down. Does it ever tilt? When you use your common sense and your physical eyes, all you see is flat. Yes, there is mountains and valleys and hills. And yes, it's not just completely flat. You're going to have curves within the flat, but the surface itself is flat. And I don't know, it just to me confirms scriptures,
yeah.
you know?
It's like we don't feel like we're moving at 100,000
We
miles.
don't.
Like
You know what's crazy? You go on anything that's moving and you feel that you're moving. You go on a cruise, even though the boat can be going slow, you kind of feel like your body's doing this. Imagine thousands of millions of zillions of whatever they say the speed is, which is 666 too, by the way, that they say it moves at the speed of 666 something gazillion. And then you don't feel it, right? But then you do anything else, a plane, a roller coaster, whatever moves fast, you come out of there like, oh my God.
yeah.
Because you're not moving. like, yes.
Like the father is not the author of confusion.
Yeah.
He really is
Like,
not.
it's really just logical common sense, guys. Like we've been taught to think like in a completely corrupt,
Moron,
stupid way. Like
Yeah.
And by the way, NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes.
The little signs like
Because
the
it's-
system.
yeah.
Just
You
running
can
in that.
see something when they have glasses on, you see the reflection of people filming in the back.
And you see some of
And
these
you're-
astronauts, I was gonna say too, some of these astronauts have come out saying the truth that they never left the Earth. So they expose themselves. They expose the truth because that's part of the agenda. They have to. But anyway, let's continue because if now we're going to do a flat Earth study instead of a Genesis study, it goes together. But I just wanted to take a little stoppage here just to explain what this word firmament really is according to scriptures, right? And how the biblical flat Earth makes sense. So once again, verse 9, the Most High said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place and let the dry land appear. And it was so. So now we see the firmament is created first, and then the waters under the firmament are gathered together in one place, which is what we see as the ocean. All of the ocean waters, the sweet waters, salt waters, right? That's what he's talking about. And then he creates the dry land. Verse 10, and the Most High called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And he saw that it was good. Again, we go through the check marks of all the things that he saw that it was good. All of his creation, he saw for it to be good, right? And so I do have a few connecting precepts with that verse 9. I'm just going to read a couple just to confirm scriptures really quickly. We have Job 38, 8 through 11. No, sorry. Job 26, not 38. Where is Job 26? Oh, here. Job 26, verse 10. He drew a circular horizon on the face of the waters at the boundary of light and darkness. Do you guys see it there?
Job,
Literally, Job made the clear depiction of creation. He made a circular horizon on the face of the waters. And by the way, a face is flat.
Yeah.
Yes, your face has curves, like a nose, you put it, but it's flat. It's not a globe. Like the face itself, right? So just giving you,
Job also speak about like the earth is on pillars.
the foundations on pillars, yes.
I'll say that isn't it really cool that the people that would increase in wisdom, they would increase in sorrow. And I feel like Job would see a lot of things and he was increasing in sorrow.
That is so true. That is a good observation. We have Psalms 104, 6 through 9. You covered it with deep as with a garment. Look at the words, the metaphorical. I know a lot of people will say, okay, but the Psalms is like a poem. They use a lot of analogies and a lot of metaphors. However, it's the same, even though it's an analogy, it's a metaphor, it's the same type of description. It's the same congruent message from the beginning, right? So you covered it with a deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled. At your voice of your thunder they hastened away. They went up over the mountains. They went down into the valleys to the place which you founded for them. You have set a boundary. You have set a boundary. No, this is interesting that they may not pass over. What do you think that is? Okay, so let's go back to the pictures that I had shown you guys here. This boundary is literally you know what they call the North Pole and the South Pole, the ice walls there. It's literally all around, and that's what holds the waters in. And why do you think that no country, no government, no one is allowed to go there?
It's like a forbidden.
And all of the nations signed a treaty. Yes, all the nations, all of them. They can get close, but then you have the military. You cannot go too close to the
Yeah.
girl. So yes, that's what I believe that is. Again, that's the depiction. So I just wanted to go back to that picture to show you guys.
Near where like the Aurora Borealis is, like where Abba's throne, like
Oh my gosh, it's thrown to the colors of the throne. Oh, it's so much. But anyway, again, the boundary that they may not pass over, meaning the waters, right? That they may not return to cover the earth. Proverbs 8:29, when he assigned to the sea its limit. I love it. So that the waters would not transgress his command. So even creation does not transgress his commandments, right? When he marked out the foundations of the earth. Woo! I know. Pentecostal shake, come on. And we also have, where was I? You guys are funny. Second Peter, where am I here? No, Jeremiah 5:20. Wait. No, I read that one. Wait, no, did I? No. Jeremiah 5:22. Do you not fear me, says the Adon? Will you tremble? Will you not tremble at my presence, who have placed the sand as the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree that cannot pass beyond it? And though its wave tossed to and fro, yet they cannot prevail. Though they roar, yet they cannot pass over it. He's talking about how just creation obeys him. 2 Peter 3:5, for this they willfully forget that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of water and in the water. We had read it already, but I wanted to read it again. Psalms 24, 1 through 2. The earth is the Adon's and all its fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded upon the seas and established it upon the waters. It just confirms it. Psalms 33:7. He gathers the waters of the sea together as a heap. He lays up the deep in storehouses. Psalms 95:5. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. That's just confirming Genesis. All right. So let's continue. So we are still on day 1, right? No, the second day. Second day. Okay, so now we have, he creates a dry land, right? Verse 11. Then the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And the Most and the Most High saw that it was good. Again, another thing, he saw that it was good on the third day. All this happened on the third day. The creation of, the grass, the fruit, the trees. I do want to just take a quick little pause here to explain that though this is physical, it's also spiritual. And why do I say this? Remember that at creation, it was still the Garden of Eden. There was still not men formed, nor the fall of man. And the reason why I'm saying this, because later we're gonna see the mention of the tree of life and the tree of good and evil, right? So I'm saying this because though he created the herbs, the trees to yield fruit of its kind, you're gonna see the same story from the beginning to end. For example, when Paul says that by their fruits you will, well, that's Messiah. Messiah says, by their fruits you will know them, right? Messiah also says, I am the vine and you are the branches, referring to a tree. Paul later states that we will manifest the fruits of his spirit, right? Fruits come from a tree. Again, when it makes mention of trees in creation, I do believe a lot of it is spiritual. So they're not literal trees. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. So just keep that in mind because it's going to make more sense when we get into the sin. Okay. That takes place later on. Yes.
I was gonna say he can create and destroy because remember he cursed the fig tree and then like he created there.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy. It is crazy.
And I wanted to add
Yes.
too, because I love what Yas said about the firmament and like the
Ooh.
pregnant belly, because like the earth is like a feminine. That's why when you put a seed,
It's Mother Nature. It's so crazy. Yes. And interestingly, the bride is also a concept of a female. And the bride is to bear his seed and expand the fruits of his spirit to create about, reproduce. Thank you. Whoo, I love it. All right, guys. So we're on the third day. Okay, so then I have a whole bunch of Bible verses, by the way, that connects with all of this, but I don't want to make this super duper extra long. So we are now on verse 14. So the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament. Remember when we talk about firmament? Firmament is the dome, right? The rakia. So let there be lights in, it doesn't say above the firmament, in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. That right there confirms that the luminaries, meaning the sun, the moon, and the stars, are the ones who guide us. Signs, seasons, meaning fall, winter, spring, summer, you name it. And it also guides our days and our months and our years, right? So, verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. So here we see on day 4 is when he makes, confirming here, verse 16, he made the 2 great lights. So I want to also take a pause here because it says 2 great lights. It doesn't say 1 great light and one that's a little line. I want you guys to see where I'm going here with this. When I see 2 great lights, I think of a full moon and I think of a full sun. Okay, 2 great lights. Yes, we know that the moon empties itself. That's how the month, that's how we know where we are in the month. And then it fills again itself with light. But at creation, meaning at day 4 of creation, when it was placed, it was 1 great light together with the sun. And so I believe that the new moon, when it speaks of a new moon, is really a full moon. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with this. Again, this is just little snippets that I'm throwing in there because NASA also says that the new moon is a dark moon, which is why I said a little sliver.
Makes sense because it illuminates the night.
Of course, 2 great lights. And
cool, like, sorry.
no, I was gonna say if he's setting it he's setting it for signs and for seasons. Why would it be a dark moon?
Yeah.
How can you even see a dark moon? You can't. Right?
It just doesn't make sense because even when you have those lights and if it doesn't turn on, it's completely dark.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be a greater light.
It wouldn't. And then why is this important, you may say? Well, because later on with the observance of the Shabbats and the feast days, it's based on the world celebrates it based on a dark moon. But once again, I believe that this is a full moon. But we're not going to get too deep into that. I just want to take little pauses to point why and where in scriptures. And obviously this confirms it in Enoch. But without going into Enoch, I just believe by reading alone that 2 great lights to me yields a full moon. Yes.
I have a cool mystery about the moon thing, but I don't have to share it.
Okay. So once again, the greater light, meaning the sun, to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So again, the greater light is the sun, the lesser light is the moon, and then he put the stars, right? And then he set them once again. Where did he set them? In the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good. And again, all this happened on the fourth day. And this is just going back really quick just to show you guys that this is the idea that I was showing you here. Day one, day two, day three, it wasn't until the fourth day that the luminaries were then created. And interestingly, they do place here a full moon because it just makes perfect sense. So in other words, the Shabbat began with a full moon. Does that make sense? So the month begins with a full moon. That's what I wanted to point out. But anyway, let's continue here. So just to correlate here, verse where was I? The fourth day, verse 19. Just want to see what I want to confirm here. So verse 17. Let me see if this confirms it here in Genesis 15:5.
Really, I like the drawings, the pictures a lot.
Yes.
They make you really understand the concept.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to bring this. I know we're going to speak a lot more about this when we get to Abraham, but I did want to read about when he gives a promise to Abraham and the reference of stars, because the stars is also angels, and it's what we are to become, which are Elohims, right? Mighty ones. Yes. Genesis 15:5. Then he brought him outside and said, look now toward heaven, meaning the firmament, under the firmament, right? And count the stars if you're able to number them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be. I love it. Jeremiah 33:20 and 25. Thus says the Adon, if you can break my covenant with the day and my covenant with the night, so that there will not be day and night in their season. Thus says the Most High, if my covenant is not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth. In other words, the covenant is completely related to his luminaries. It's just crazy because they are also set for seasons and for signs. We also have Jeremiah 31:35. Thus says the Most High, who gives the sun for a light by day, the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night, who disturbs the sea and its water and its waves roar. The Most High of hosts is his name. And we know that this is speaking about Messiah.
Yeah.
All right. So we also have, let me see, what verse was I in here? I just totally saw that I skipped over Enoch. I want to read Enoch really quick for you guys.
Enoch is that boy with the
Yeah.
wings.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Enoch, that I saw that they said that, they casted down the women's that, birthed the babies with the fallen angels.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Yes, we're gonna get to that. That's all in Genesis 6.
Spoke to anybody about that.
Don't worry about it. Girl, you're in the right place at the right time because we're gonna get into that. All of it. All right, let's keep it rolling. So we have I do want to bring Enoch for verse. I'm gonna go back to verse 7 just so you see, because I'm gonna bring when he's talking about the firmament and the waters above, right? I'm gonna bring in Enoch chapter 10. Oh, it's so small. I just noticed how small it looks. I don't even know if I can read it. All right, so 14:10. I think when I did the share, it kind of got smaller. So chapter 14, verse 10. I have it right here. I'm actually going to read 11. Its ceiling, look at this. This is in the book of Enoch. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings. Its ceiling, meaning the firmament, right? And between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. I love it. Oh, look, if you read it 12, look at 12. A flaming fire. Remember what I said about the fire being in waters too? A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's keep it rolling. We also have for verse Verse 14. I also have two Enoch connections here. Verse 14, where he talks about the lights in the firmament as well. This is all because Enoch, obviously, man, you know what's crazy? That the Bible, the word itself says that Enoch walked with the Most High, and there he was and then he was no more, right? This man literally says he walked with him and then he was no more because he took him, meaning with mind, body, and soul. Like he took him, right? And nobody questions, like, so this man didn't have a book? Like a man that walked to him. But anyway, let's continue.
Like, just reject his book.
I know. But the man Enoch obviously exposes so much wisdom because he walked with him. But anyhow, going to back to the firmament and to the lights placed under the firmament, let's go now to Enoch chapter 82. Oh, I have to go down a lot. Let me go scroll. Chapter 82. Where am I here? 75, almost there. Okay, 82. Okay, so chapter 82, verse 7. And the account thereof is accurate, and he recorded, and the recorded reckoning thereof exact for the luminaries. Again, the luminaries are the sun, the moon, and the stars, right? And months and festivals, meaning the feast days. Look how Enoch makes mention of them, right? And months and festivals and years and days has Uriel, which is an angel, shown and revealed to me, to whom the Adon of the whole creation of the world has subjected the host of heaven and has power over the night and the day in the heaven to cause the light to give light to men, sun, moon, and stars, and all the powers of the heaven which revolve in their circular chariot. Circular. Oh my gosh, I can't. And these are the orders of the stars, which set in their places and in their seasons and festivals and months, meaning the feast days, are roots. Oh my goodness, guys. And these are okay, let's continue. Enoch 75, verse 3. I'm going to go back up. 75. I know, I love it. All right, verse 3 over here. Okay. For the signs and the times and the years and the days of the angel Uriel showed to me, whom the Adon of glory has set over all the luminaries of the heaven, in the heaven and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the heaven and be seen on the earth and be leaders for the day and the night, for example, the sun, moon, and the stars, and all ministering creatures which make the revolution in all chariots of the heaven. In like manner, oh, check this out. In like manner, 12 doors from the beginning. This is Enoch, right? I know. In like manner, 12 doors Uriel showed me, open in the circumference of sun's chariot in the heaven, through which the rays of the sun break forth. All right, I'm gonna stop right there, but it's just crazy. I know. Woo, I love it. All right. So let me just continue where we were here. We were on day 4, right? Okay, so day 4. So day 5, what took place on day 5? 20, yes. And the Most High said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures. Oh, this is when the birds and in the skies. Okay. Living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. Again, all of this is under the firmament. It's not talking about a galaxy, guys. The Most High created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. Again, he did the birds in the skies and under the heavens, right? And then the sea creatures in the ocean. All that on day 5, right? And then he told them on verse 22, and blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. So the evening and the morning were the 5th day. So again, on the 5th day, all that he created, he saw that it was good. Now we're going to move on to the 6th day. Let me just see something really quick. Verse 23. No, I don't have anything there. Let's just continue. So verse 24, the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And the Most High made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And then God said, let us make man, and this is where we're going to take a pause. Let us Let us. Notice how everything he was just creating, right? He made the birds in the skies, the fish in the ocean, the sun, the stars and the moon, the heavens, the firmament. On verse 6, well, on day 6, he starts making the animals, which is the land animals, the cows, the monkeys, everything that's on the land, right? But then he gets to man and he says, let us make men in our plurality. Remember how you were saying it's all about a teamwork?
Yeah.
Plurality, let us make men in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So the Most High, I want to say the Adon, the Elohim, right, created man in his own image, meaning in Messiah's own image. In the image of the Adon, he created him. Male and female, he created them. I do want to say something here, because up to this point, he had not created Eve yet. So when you're reading this is just Moses giving you already what was going to happen after man. Okay, I do want to explain that because up to this point, he creates Adam first. You're going to see the breakdown of that later. He first makes Adam, and then from his rib, he removes the other rib,
It's
right?
kind of like foreshadowing what
Exactly. He's just telling you he created man, but then he's telling you he didn't only create man, that it was also woman, because it goes together. Male and female, he created them, and I love it because he's, huh?
No, I was gonna say, and then like when they get married, they shall become one flesh.
But what I was gonna say is that I love the what he's giving us here, because he's not only telling you that he made man in his image, he made woman too in his image, and that's the whole point that I think Moses here is trying to convey, that he created men into his image, but he made female and created them, meaning both the male and female, into his image, and that ties in perfectly with what Alina just said, because the bride becomes one and it's plurality.
Yeah.
Yes?
When we were talking about like let them have dominion over the fish, over the birds of the air, and how like we were basically gonna become like a team. I was thinking about how like when there's like the Miccosukee tribes and those specific tribes, when you're brought up in that bloodline, everything that belongs to that bloodline belongs to you. So the
Yes.
Everglades belongs to you, supposedly like whatever they have belongs. So it kind of reminds me how like that concept of those tribes, like it doesn't, I feel like it really came from the Most High.
Yeah.
Like everything that's of his is ours.
It's like us
Amen.
being grafted into Israel. Like,
Yes.
Yes.
we have
Absolutely.
the inheritance
And
now.
Yes.
they're supposed to marry in the tribes.
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna get into all of that. I just love Genesis because it ties everything back to the foundation. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
So speaking of his own image, I do want to take a break here for 26. You're gonna see what it says in the Targums. Targums, verse 26. This is 11. I notice that in the Targums, the verses are on the other side because it has a Hebrew translation or Hebrew from the Aramaic. Okay. So this is verse 26 in the Targums. Okay. It says, and the Adon said to the angels who ministered before him. Remember, the angels are the other gods. They're not fallen there yet, right? To the angels who ministered before him, who had been created in the second day. That's why I'm adding this Targums here, because notice how in the second day of creation, before even the luminaries come into existence, before there was already light, but the rest of the sons of God, to call them that, are also created, are also born. So I wanted to point that out, that the Targums adds that. It says in the second day of creation of the world. And that's when he says, let us make men in our image, meaning on the sixth day, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl which are in the atmosphere of heaven, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and every reptile creeping upon the earth. So I like that it adds that there.
It makes sense too, because if the fallen angels were able to have sex with like women, they have to be the same type of image type of thing. You know?
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
the same frame.
Yeah, uh-huh. Absolutely. I agree 100,000%. Even though this is my understanding, my interpretation, I believe that the sexual act, well, that took place prior to the fall of men was different
Yeah.
than the one after the fall of men. It's more spiritual. I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. However, there was a joining there. Absolutely.
Now it starts in the spirit and then it manifests in the flesh.
Yes, yes. Sylvie has a question or wants to say something. Sylvie?
Just to add, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Just like if you see when he created the animals and he commands the animals to reproduce, that just goes to show you he also created them male and female. Because
Yes,
in order to reproduce, and so it makes sense what you're saying here.
absolutely. Yes.
And Jasmine, you and I are connected. You mentioned the baby, and I swear to you, I raised my hand, but Liz did not see
Come on, girl. That's how we
me.
flow. That's how we
I'm
flow.
like, it's just like the baby in the womb. It's water, all connected.
I love it. It's so crazy to me.
Happy birthday, Sylvie.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go back to Enoch chapter 69, connecting with this same verse. Wait, 70, this is 69. This is so small. Okay, 69. Verse 10 here.
I love the connection from Enoch because it's like,
I know.
man, that book is so essential.
It
you're reading
is,
Genesis.
but again, it's chapter 1 says it's for his chosen. So, all right, verse 10 says, "For men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good faith with pen and ink. For men were created exactly like the angels," confirming what Jessica was saying, "to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not have taken hold of them. But through this, their knowledge but through this, their knowledge, they are perishing. And through it, this power is consuming me." This is Enoch speaking, obviously. I'm going to stop there. But the whole point that I believe Enoch was trying to make this here is that man initially was created as an Elohim, which is why in the book of Psalms we see that it says that ye are gods, but you shall die as men. Because we are right now not gods. We are in a fallen state, in a corrupted flesh. And we're going to see later what this flesh, what the skins that he gave Adam and Eve later really truly was the flesh, right? We're going to see those connections. So we are in a fallen state. So therefore, we're no longer truly in his image, even though we are, but we're not Elohims. We're not mighty ones right now, right? But initially, he did create us in his perfect image, and it was both male and female. So
That we fell short of his glory, like the Son of Man
Yes.
fell short. So it's like we're like a less glorified state now. Like
Yeah.
an unglorified
yes, and
state.
unglorified,
Yeah.
actually. That's why we fall
Because we
short.
fell short of
Yeah.
his glory.
Wow. And then we are to become set apart so that we are glorified. We're practicing as we're on this earth to be perfect, so with the intent to truly become perfect as he is. Because we cannot do it right now. We in our own capacity and flesh, we cannot. Which is yes, which is why Paul would say, "Wicked sinner that I am." It's always a battle between the flesh and the spirit. The spirit is what's in his likeness.
Yes.
And that's who we truly are. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's why we need to deny the flesh.
We need to deny the flesh. Yes. And that's why we are also to be born again of the spirit. And water. I was gonna say, oh, wait, too much. Baptism, water baptism is such a prophetic depiction of going back in the waters and be born again. Oh my God.
Born again
I
in
guess-
the water.
Out of the waters. You dip down, you dip back up. Oh, guys. Woo! Anyway, all this just in Genesis 1. Not even the food chapter. Oh my I know. Anyway, I do want to read wait, I wanted to read, did I read? Okay, let me just read a couple Bible verses here really quick because this one is good with the creation of man. We have Genesis 9:6. And we're almost done. "Whoever sheds man's blood, by men his blood shall be shed. For the image of the Most High he made man. For in the image, of the Most High he made man." So that's just confirming. Psalms 100 verse 3. "Know that the Adon, he is Elohim. It is he who has made us and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Woo! Ecclesiastes 7:29. Truly, this only I have found, that the Most High men made upright, but they have sought out many schemes. And this confirms what Enoch was saying, that we were initially created to be righteous, right? But obviously, with the fall of man, we are not. Ephesians 4:24. And that you put on the new man, which was created according to the Most High, in true righteousness and holiness. I was talking about the whole purpose of being born again, of attempting a lifestyle of being set apart and holy, is truly just going back to how he initially had created us. Come on. James 3:9. With it we bless our Elohim and Father, our Most High and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the similitude of the Most High. Genesis 9:2. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, and on all that move on the earth, and on all of the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. This is just confirming that he gave mankind authority, right? And lastly, for this verse, Psalms 8, verses 6-8, you have made him to take them to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, even the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea that pass through the paths of the sea. And I do want to say this, that the fact that he created us to his image shows his authority too, because he gives mankind authority over all of the creation, right? So he has authority over us. So it's just crazy because even like the way I kind of see it is this. The Father gave authority, the Father created Messiah, born out of him, it's like copy paste, right? And then created the rest of the angels, right? All of them are his sons, including Lucifer. He was his son. It's just his fallen state, right? But all of them were his sons, right? Messiah has the preeminence because of what he did, the sacrifice for mankind, however. Going back to Genesis 1, the Father allows him to create. And the reason why I believe that he creates, I believe because he so desired to have company. I believe that he wanted to create other beings just like himself, not only like his brothers, but like himself, which is why he says everything he created was good, except it is not good for men to be alone. Remember, yes, remember, man was created in his image, and immediately he says it's not good for men to be alone. So Messiah, in other words, did not want to walk the Garden of Eden alone. If you notice later on, we're going to see as we continue this study that he walked in the cool of the day in the Garden of Eden with them. Woo! And that's what we're supposed to go back to. Oh my gosh.
Follow the heart intimacy with the
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Everything he does is out of love.
Absolutely. All right, so confirming what he speaks that he made them male and female, what Sylvie was saying. Hold on, let me move this out of the way. What Sylvie was saying, we have here Genesis 5:2, where it says he created them male and female and blessed them and called them mankind in the day they were created. I actually prefer the expression mankind because humanity comes from Homo sapiens. We're not Homo sapiens. We are in the kind of our Mashiach. You know, like kind produces like kind. We're not Homo sapiens. We are, we are in his kindness, which is whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. But you guys understand when I say humans, okay? But yeah, we're not monkeys. First Corinthians 11:7. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of the Most High. But woman is the glory of man. So you see there the distinction because of the fact that he's using that as woman is like the bride, right? And Messiah is like the groom. So it's literally the same pattern that is in creation, that is in the heaven, is as above, so below. Sorry to say it like that, but as it is in heaven, so it is under the heaven, right? And we also have Matthew 19, verse 4. And he answered and said to them, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? At the beginning, right? And lastly, Mark 10, 6, 8 from this section. But from the beginning of the creation, the Most High made the male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, what you ladies were talking about, and the two shall become one flesh. Alina's the one I was saying, yes. So then they're no longer two, but one. And what did Messiah say? That they become one with me as I am one with the Father.
To him. I think
Yes.
how like when someone gets married, there's always like a pastor, a priest, whatever. But I feel like it's Messiah that's standing in the middle, establishing
Come
the
on.
covenant.
Amen. We have verse 27, and this is the part where I want to bring in the Targums, where it says, The Most High created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High, he created him, right? Male and female, he created them. Targums renders this verse 27 over here. And the Most High created man in his likeness. In the image of the Most High, he created him with 248 members, with 360 and 5 nerves, and overlaid them with skin and filled it with flesh and blood, male and female in their bodies, he created them. So clearly, that's a lot more details, but it only shows that we are in his likeness, even in the details that we have. Yes, like I said, here it says skin, but we know that this is still in the spiritual sense because later the flesh I was given is corrupt, and that is not in his likeness, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. But I do believe that in the spirit, we also will have, like it says here, these members and nerve endings and skin is just glorified. That's the way I kind of interpret it. Maybe I'm off, but
because it says we're gonna have glorified bodies.
yes,
Body.
I believe so.
Those colors on the 12 stone
Oh,
colors.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. It came to my mind like all those colors.
I feel like
Yes. Why
we're
is this
gonna, like,
taking
shine.
there?
I feel like we're gonna be like see-through or something, like transcendent.
I think so too. All right, so verse 28, where it says, And the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, etc., etc. We read it, right? So connecting with that, we have Genesis 9, 1 and 7. So the Most High blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And as for you, be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it. So that's just confirming that the idea from the beginning has been multiplication, because it's never about just keeping it, keeping it narrow, meaning not narrow path, but narrow meaning like a couple people. He wants to expand his seed. Yes, which is why the promise to Abraham is that his descendants will be as the stars innumerable as the stars in the heaven.
Yeah.
The multiplication of that, right? So we also have, connecting with that, actually, we have Psalms 104. Let me just read it. Wait.
It's there.
Freely you have been given, freely.
No, I know, but what do I have here? It's actually Leviticus, not Psalm, sorry. Leviticus 26, 9. For I will look on you favorably and make you fruitful, multiply you, and confirm my covenant with you. That just confirms what I just said about Abraham. 1 Corinthians 9:27. But I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified. I don't think that goes there. That's probably disciplining my body. Actually, it's about subduing it. Maybe that's what that is there for. I don't know why I put that, but let's continue. Verse 29, where it says, and the Most High said, See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. And again, I spoke about the physical aspect of this creation, but remember, keep in mind that this is also very spiritual, because we are to also procreate our own seed, right? And bear fruits of the spirit. So yes, it is spiritual, but it's also physical. And vice versa. So connecting. Yeah, so connecting with verse 29, absolutely. We have Genesis 9, 3, absolutely. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs. And this is after the fall of man. So that's just confirming that, okay? Psalms 104, 14 through 15. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and vegetation for the service of men, that he may bring forth food from the earth, and wine that makes glad the heart of man, oil that makes his face shine, and bread which strengthens man's heart. The bread of life. Verse 30, also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food, and it was so. And then I'll read 31 too. Then the Most High saw everything that he had made, and indeed, it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So remember, the only thing that he later says it was not good is for man to be alone. But everything that he created, he said that it was indeed very good. So confirming with that, the eyes of all look expectantly to you, and you give them their food in due season. This is speaking about how he gives every herb, bearing fruit as food. Job 38:41, who provides food for the raven when its young ones cry to the Most High and wander about for lack of food. Psalms 104:24. O Adon, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your possessions. Amen. 1 Timothy 4:4, for every creature of the Most High is good, and nothing is to be refused if it is received with thanksgiving. And again, I bring this up because a lot of people like to use this to say that all foods are declared clean. But he's talking about every creature is good, meaning every creature that he created is good for its purpose that it served. You're not, yes, this is not for you to say. Exactly. It is not for you to say it's good for you to eat because this is not at all what Timothy is talking about. And again, understand that the disciples understood that when they spoke about food, they were not considering unclean animals part of that. So, yes. So now I want to just summarize everything with the presentation. So the theological themes that we found here in Genesis, just to recap, we see that Abba declares the end from the beginning. Creation reveals his plan, light pointing to redemption, meaning light, the light of the world, right? The gospel is present from day one. Restoration was always the goal. So you know how from we've been taught that the gospels begin in Matthew. That's why I always say the gospels begin in Genesis. From day one, we already see the story of redemption from day one. Yes. So returning, and we're going to see it more obviously as we read chapters 2, 3, and and the fall of men and all of that. So returning to the garden, it all goes back to the beginning. Torah, we spoke about this last week, but covenant, faith in Messiah, walking in his light. The Most High is leading us back to relationship, what we're talking about, the broken relationship, back to order and back to life, which is the tree of life. That's why I put that picture there. Yes, in the tree. It's funny because we talk about I was talking about how fruits and vegetation could be physical but also spiritual. Understand this. He placed them in a garden, the Garden of Eden. Garden, and then he places trees and he calls Messiah the tree of life. He calls Satan the tree of knowledge. So just understand that there's distinctions here, right? So the message of yes. Yes, yes, we're gonna go through detail when we get to those chapters next week, okay? So the message in Genesis 1 is spiritual light and redemption. That is the core message of chapter 1. From the very first verse, the Most High is already revealing that Messiah is the gospel, and then the path back to Eden. And he is the gospel, obviously. Darkness can't overcome the light of the Most High. But this isn't just physical light, it's spiritual, and it requires spiritual eyes to see it. This light leads to eternal life. Yes, Yasmin?
When you were talking, I was thinking about how when a baby is born, their eyes, like there's no womb, their eyes are closed. As soon as they come out, the eyes are open. And I think about how in the spirit, your eyes are open.
Yes.
Yes.
Like being born again.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I was reading the chat. I'm like,
Baby was coming to my mind.
oh
I
my
was like,
gosh,
okay,
yes,
when
yes.
Baby comes out of the water. It's like how we're coming, like,
And they come out like this and then they go, the
Yeah,
light is so bright.
absolutely. There's also a lot of interpretations with even the physical eye and how it looks like a dome and how there's just so much like the nerve endings and how it receives the light. There's so much there.
about that one. About like the eye.
Yes, and
Light
the
enters
parable,
the
the a
eye.
light enters the eye, and it's so crazy because Messiah makes a lot of reference, like if your eye causes you to sin, to
Sin.
take it out. Yeah. But anyway, let me just read really quick some of the stuff that they wrote. I know it's a long time ago. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but it's very interesting. So I'm gonna read it. Eileen has said, I saw a crazy movie called Bugonia. And just at the end of the movie, there is a part where they literally showed that the flat Earth. Wow, that exact picture that you have up right now. It's crazy how Hollywood play in our faces, but most people are so blind, speaking of blindness, that they can't see these things, but they actually know these things, but of course, distorted and tell you only half truths. Absolutely. And then Shekinah has shared that there was a young man that did an emergency landing in Antarctica and was arrested, but hadn't been heard of since he was released. They are serious about no one going to the Arctic. Absolutely.
Stuff that you
Yes.
could see from there of the firmament or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Because you see where
very
yes, where it ends. Absolutely. Or see.
Imagine
Oh,
if you could touch
I
the
know.
firmament.
Imagine.
So
Oh, you guys know there's a movie called, I think, The Dome or something, and they don't put it like it's like the whole earth covered, but it's crazy how they put that they cannot go, like they literally cannot go through that. Like it's like it like repels them back or something. I don't know,
you
but
see it all the time in The Simpsons.
The Simpsons too. Oh, there you go. And there's a lot of pilots that have come out saying like the earth is definitely flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how they fly around, not the way that they, because the world map, I'll show you. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna show you.
I think what it is that you could probably get to the firmament there, and also a plane will
Yes.
crash into the firmament. A plane.
Let me just wrap this up. Sorry, guys. So Genesis 1, let me just wrap this up. Sorry. Because if not, it's going to be really long. Genesis 1 is an invitation to return to the order, return to the light, and return to the Most High. So that's basically the core of Genesis 1, is to take us back to the original state that we were created in light, in the Garden of Eden. Yes.
I feel
So-
so like
Yes, thank you for breaking bread with us. All right, before I end this, just wanted to show you the depiction, this map right here. This is how you see how the countries are connected, like how North America connected to Asia and Europe over here. Like I've seen pilots literally explain how they fly, and it makes more sense for them to fly in that way than in the globe model. So that's what I wanted to end it with. And with that, yes, share the last thing, and I'm gonna end the recording.
I'm sorry. Okay, so because I wanted to share in the beginning when you were talking about the firmament and the lights, the sun and the moon. So there was this one time I felt like Abba shared like a mystery with me about that. How like the sun is like represents the Messiah, the perfect like constant light, it never changes. And then the bride, which is us, is the moon. And if you notice how the moon is like how it's like waxing and waning, it's like us preparing to be the full bride to get married to him.
I
So
love
it's like
it.
just like preparing like from darkness to light.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we end this recording. Thank you for connecting with us. You guys, the ones that are connected live can stay and ask questions if you want, but I'm going to end the recording now. Shalom. We'll see you next week.
Lane.